So learning surfing is hard, right? Maybe some of you have done beginners courses and found that it's even hard just to sit on the board, especially hard to get up. You're probably ending up on your knees. So a lot of trials and tribulations when you are learning to surf, especially when you're that beginning stage where you're trying to get from an absolute beginner to kind of like just intermediate, which takes a lot of time. It's probably the longest part of your journey, because as soon as you're up riding waves and you're reading waves right, you're going to catch more, and then you've got more what I like to call foot time, where you're actually standing up and you can actually explore the waves and actually move the board around. This is something I'm working on. I'd say I'm intermediate level, but I can sort of occasionally do the odd trick or two, more by accident than on purpose, to be honest. So this actual post here is just all about my kind of journey on learning surfing. So at the beginning, I took up surfing when I was 45. I've been surfing now for 6 years. We moved to Cornwall and to a place called St Ives. We've got a local beach that we can surf at. There's a couple actually, and there's a few along from me as well. Cornwall's actually littered in surfing beaches, so it's perfect. I knew when I moved down here that I wanted to do some kind of water sport, and whether it be scuba diving or wild swimming or any of these, but then I loved surfing literally straight away, and it becomes a passion to actually surf because of the mental side of it, as well as physically keeping you fit and using muscles that you've never used before. It also gives you a chance to meditate as well. Being in those elements takes you away from everything and is a really calming Zen-like meditation for me. So my journey, as I said, started 6 years ago when I did a course with the St Ives Surf School and loved it. And like most people, I kind of like, well, with me, I jump in at the deep end, and I kind of like went out, try and go out past the white water when I couldn't even get up on the board. Had lots of dumps in the sea, you know, falling off the board, couldn't stay on it and trying to kneel up. But it was really, really good, and I decided to continue and persevere with it and run into lots and lots of hurdles along the way, which I'm going to talk about. So the first one that was really, really important and really kind of moved me up was the fact that you just need to get that fitness level up. So you need to be paddling. So I paddle even on nice flat days when I can't surf. I just go out on my board and I paddle around the bay, and just to get those muscles moving and engaged, and your stomach and your core and everything engaged, so that you can actually paddle more. Because you remember, you're spending about 95% of your time, if not more, paddling around rather than catching waves, rather than surfing. So you're paddling all the time. So you need really good strength in the core and in the shoulders to be able to paddle for long periods of time. Of course, you sit on the board as well. That in itself, when you're a beginner, is hard to do. You kind of roll around, fall off the board a lot, especially when you're trying to maneuver the board. And this, I found, was something that you cannot teach really. It's a case of spending some time and letting your body's natural balance motors engage. And the more you do it, the better they get at engaging, keeping yourself upright. Especially comes into effect when you're standing, because there's little slight movements where the board, you can fall off, but you adjust yourself automatically because those balance motors are kicking in. So a lot of people get frustrated that they fall off all the time, and sometimes it's just a case that their balance motors haven't actually engaged properly. Need more time in the sea to get that to work. Or you need to do balance exercises at home to engage them, which you can do. Okay, so one thing, paddling. You need to paddle. That's why they tell you any lesson that you take as a beginner to paddle for the white water. You know, even though white water's coming along, and the force of white water will mean that it will push you even if you do not paddle. But they insist that you paddle. And this is purely for when you get past the whitewater. You'll be paddling, you use the paddle, you don't use the force of the whitewater, you use the paddling and gravity itself to actually get you onto the wave and then get up. So once you've got past that and you've managed to struggle to your feet and using the pop-up methods, and you've got it all pretty sussed, you can start working your way out the back. Now, you need to also at the same time not take on waves that are too big for you. Remember, you're a beginner, so you need to have small waves, very manageable for your experience level. So don't go out in massive great waves. Choose like little sort of 3 foot, 4 foot waves maximum, to start with. Start heading out the back and paddling to catch those waves. And this brings on the second point here, which is the catching the wave at the right time. Now, this is wavecraft, so it's looking at the wave, seeing where the waves are breaking most often, and then making sure you're back from the wave so you're catching them before they break. A good idea is to look at the other surfers and stay where they are. There's a lot of people I see that stay on the inside where the wave kind of breaks, and they get hammered by the waves. It's really hard. They've got to get back up on the board. They've got to get back out. They're hammered again by another wave. So if you're just past that, what's called impact zone, you're going to save a lot of energy and make it easier for you to catch that wave. So once you've got used to where it's breaking and you're back for it, then you're going to paddle for those waves, really take those strong paddle strokes, get the speed up as quick as you can on the board, and definitely look over your shoulder or look at where that wave is so you can adjust your paddle speed. If you're going too fast and it's going to break because you've gone too far ahead, slow yourself down by not paddling, then the wave will pick you up and then you can then get to your feet. And this is another thing, even when you're on the board, you've got to make sure you're balanced in the middle of the board and you're balanced horizontally on the board as well. That nose should be about 3 centimeters out of the water. If it's too low, what will happen is you will nosedive. When you hit that wave, you will nosedive. But you've got to be careful that you don't move too far back. Otherwise, you'll be too slow. The nose will go in the air and you'll drop off the back of the wave. Okay. Lots of people are terrified about going too far forwards because they think they're going to nosedive. But in actual fact, if you are not too far, but if you're in the right place forwards, it will actually keep the nose down. And when the board picks up on the wave, it will go faster, which means the nose will lift. You can put more weight on the nose. So what you'll see is people lift their chest up, and then as the wave comes and picks them up, they'll get their head right down because the board is traveling faster. The nose is going to lift. They want to keep that nose on that wave so that they can drift down it and pop up to their feet. So the pop-up itself, once you popped up, then you've got a whole new balance thing. So at first you should just be trying to get up on the board and just go straight. Okay, don't try any tricks, just get used to going straight, catching that wave, going straight. Make sure if you're a beginner you've got a nice big board, preferably a foam board, just because it's quicker to paddle. And if you hit someone else with a foam board, it's not going to do as much damage as a hard board. So that's where you are. So once you can actually get up every time, then you're going to then start to try to go down the line or along the wave. So when you catch it next time, what you do is where you look is where you go. So if you get a nice wave and you think it's going to break left or right, you need to look down that way when you get up. And when you get up, because you're looking, your board will more often than not follow you. You can angle it slightly as well, not too much, just slightly, and then it will take you off down that wave. From that point on, you can then practice putting more pressure on the front foot, which will accelerate you. Too much pressure and you'll nosedive. Back foot pressure, give you more control on turning, but will slow the board down. So don't get too much, don't stay on the back foot for too long. Just do that turn, get it back on the front foot and then carry on. And that's how you can do it. Now, as you go through this, you're going to have mental blocks. Some days you're going to surf really well. Other times you're going to surf really bad. and at some points it's going to seem like you don't get any better. Now, this is really weird. In my particular case, I have these big stops for probably about a year. You just have a year of not progressing anymore, and suddenly you just jump up a level. It's really weird. I can't explain it, but there are things that you can do. You can keep practicing the things that you do well. Keep on. Don't jump around and buy a shorter board when you think, oh, I can get up and go straight down straight down. Don't think you can then go to a shorter board straight away. But what you can do is maybe buy a hard board now, but keep it long. Keep it a long hard board, lots of volume. It will be, as soon as you buy a hard board, again, there'll be certain things that are harder. It's a little bit more unstable, so sitting on it, you might find you're a little bit off balance. Even getting up, you might find you've gone back a few stages, but persevere with it and you'll move forwards. You do not want to go too short too quickly. If your aim is to get down into shorter boards, do it very incrementally, okay? And as you do move down through shorter boards, you'll find, or you go for a more performance board instead of a kind of long board shape or a mini Mal, then you'll start to see that you can have more control or on the wave, so you'll be able to turn things quicker. However, it's going to be more unpredictable. It's going to be more twitchy, so even getting up and things like that is likely to tilt. Your balance motors will have to go up another level to get good at it. But once you're at that stage, you can then, it's just a matter of time of getting in the water as much as possible. Now, I've had some injuries along the way. I tore my inner muscle quite badly, and I would say, because I'm 51, injuries are going to come along. So the key to avoiding injuries is stretching. Stretch before you surf, stretch after you surf to stretch out. Okay, really, 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 really important that you do those set of stretching exercises. I stretch for 5 to 10 minutes before each surf session, and I also walk for 8 minutes to the beach, so up a big hill. So I'm doing these things, but if you don't, you can get some really serious injuries. Make sure that you stretch a lot, all your shoulders. So at Surf Dudes, that's exactly what we've done. We're actually catering the site for an older generation of surfers, and we're going to be having exercise routines or stretches that you should be doing. If you can't surf that often, we'll be showing you sets of exercises you can use that will actually improve your surfing when you manage to get back in the water. We're going to be showing pop-up techniques. There's going to be lots of things going on. We want to offer holidays down here to Cornwall, and we also want to give discounts on some of the big shops as well inside there, and freebies. And so what is this site? What is Surf Dudes? It's a free site. So the whole idea is to build up a community of people, possibly from around the world, lots in the UK, or people that want to come to Cornwall, because it's a beautiful place, not just for surfing. So you might want to come down here, do some walking, do some surfing. The site is absolutely free. There is a donation button if you want to donate to help us maintain the site and do more videos. And that's what we are trying to do. We're trying to build a community of older generation of surfers that are learning, because surfing is so popular now. Like they've got surfing in the Olympics, so it's really, really gone up. I've seen over the 6 years inside of our local beaches all around Cornwall, it's just gone mad. There's so many people doing it now. Luckily, in some ways, it's hard, it's something you need to persevere with. So a lot of people are doing it and then just giving up. I remember the first time I did a surf lesson for 2 hours, and I literally couldn't walk the next day, and I was physically fit. And for the first year or 2 years, like every time I went out, it was a killer, because I was always pushing it. Now I'm at a stage where I can sort of do 4 or 5 days in a row, or do 2-3 sessions a day, and it's a bit achy, but it's absolutely fine. And like I said, I'm 51. So you do have these things. There is the other thing about age as well, is as you get older, you're more kind of scared in a way to take on these things. You see these little kids doing things and it's fearless, because they're immortal. You know, when you're to the age of 25, 30, you think you're immortal, don't you? And then as soon as you get over that age, you kind of realize that actually, do you know what, this is serious danger in some of these waves. So it's this site is aimed towards all of that stuff. So this is, you know, this is me, this is what I'm setting up. I want to get lots of people, lots of good surfers coming along, and also talking and chatting. I want to do lives. There's lots to be done, and it's also going to be dictated by you guys. So what do you want to see? Do you want to see an interview with a pro surfer? We've got a few pro surfers down here in Cornwall, and I want to do that. But you know, you might say, oh, what about, can you get a discount at this shop? Because if I've got a lot of members in the site, then we have the power. I can approach them as the spokesperson and say, look, I've got 500 members. They all buy things off you. How much discount can you give us for a code? So we can, together, we can become very, very powerful. And that is what we're trying to do at Surf Dudes. And also make friends, you know. If you come down here, give me a call, go out for a drink, go for a surf, all good. All right, guys, so hopefully I'll see you on the site. It's www.surf-dudes.com.